What's up? How about that Super Bowl? Gave you all winners. The prop was good. Got halfway there. That was good. Markets continue this amazing rally after looking like they were going to sell off. Now they're running. I would suspect we will see new highs. Certainly, we saw new highs in the Dow, but look at the volume. But again, it doesn't matter. Again, the market is what it is. But look at the volume. There is none. There's no interest. Look what's going on here. So at the end of the day, we'll see. We'll play it by ear. I think that you've got some things to be concerned about. Uh, I think inflation is on the rise, although they tell you that it's going lower. I think that debt is way up there, and now we've got the new give $1,000 to every kid or whatever. Unfortunately, we get to pay for that. I don't know about you, but I'm not really interested in paying for all that. Are you guys interested in paying for that? You interested in paying more of your tax dollar or having your dollar worth less so that they can fund these stupid programs? Anybody have any interest in doing that? So, you know, uh, jobs continue to disappear. The Obviously the Bitcoin plunge. We've got the markets are going higher. I'm not telling you to fight them. I'm not telling you to sell them, but I would be looking for spots. I think you'll see, just as we've just seen over the last few minutes, some selling. But until they turn over and give you a reason to be short, I don't think there is any reason to be short. Do you guys hear me, by the way? Do you think if every child has $1,000 in his fund, that will affect the markets? No, I don't think it'll affect the markets. I mean, it's just taking from one to put to another. Uh, all you are is you're getting the privilege of paying more taxes. Okay, we're funding all these ridiculous programs, building massive amounts of debt, and again, it's a joke. We allow our banks to continue to print new money. And if you're not sure what I'm saying when I talk about the banks printing new money, because they can lend out by law 10 to 1, but we know they're lending out more. But every dollar they lend out is just creating new money to the system. Okay. I don't think it ends in our lifetime. I mean, this is the very unfortunate, every great empire has failed between 200 and 300 years. Well, we're at 250. So, until somebody wakes up, I mean, I have to ask you all a question. Okay. First of all, has anybody here lost their job because of AI? Has anybody lost a job here? What are all those people that are losing their jobs going to do? I mean, there's only so much room at Walmart for the greeters. Old age? Well, that's another story, right? And you're not that old, right? And that's another story. I mean, we're so backwards in the way that we run things now. I said you're not that old. You're younger than me. The problem is that nobody accounted for what was going to happen here. And they continue to leave the Social Security system paying for people that don't need the money, okay? And they don't have enough. Nobody anticipated the average age being, what is it, 78 now? I mean, if the average age is 78, Social Security should be 81. That was the whole plan of the Ponzi scheme of Social Security, was to have people die, okay? And of course, then whoever was left would get funding. I mean, certainly, I don't think anybody here voluntarily would let them continue to take the FICA tax out of your check if you had known that the government was going to piss it all away. Okay. And that there's a very real possibility at some point that Social Security could have a bigger problem. Okay. Now, for now, they'll continue to fund it. But at the end of the day, don't you think you would have done better if you had taken the money that you paid in every year? It used to be we used to be 4% or 6%. Now it's like 8 or 9%, whatever it was. You pay half, the employer pays half, or if you're self-employed, you pay it all. Don't you think you would have more money and it would have performed better if you had just put it in your own investing? You got to let it go by a minute. Yeah, Gen Z, because they don't give a shit about you. That's exactly right. They don't know any better. Okay. But that's what's going on. Okay. Look, at the end of the day, that's what's happening. Okay. Like it or not, that's what's going on. Now, what does it mean to the markets? It doesn't mean anything. Again, we talk about this every week, right? It's becoming more evident, okay? The K-shaped economy. Only the upper, 5 or 10% are flourishing through this. The rest of the people are starving. Okay. So, again, I look at it and I say, okay. I mean, like I said, for many of us, it's not that big a deal. But if you're raising kids now, kind of hard. Okay, kind of tough. But we don't know. Nobody cares. Okay, but where are the new jobs going to come from? That's what I want to know. Where are people going to be employed? Don't you think that? Don't you believe that to be a concern? Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm nuts, which I am a little nuts. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned about that. That there won't be jobs, and of course, you know what that leads to, right? High prices, no jobs leads to stagflation. So, hey, you know, it wouldn't surprise me. You see see the price of beef. Wouldn't surprise me if there was a little bit of funny business going on there too. But at the end of the day, here we are. Okay. Uh, but did you hear that now Florida is going to make gold and silver an official means of payment? Did you guys see that? Super Bowl flyover by U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy was cool. It was very cool. It was very cool. Okay. It's always cool. Expensive, but cool. But how do you like that? Florida is going to that'll be another state now that'll allow you to use them as payment. Sounds like a market top if they make gold and silver payment system like Bitcoin a few years ago. Well, I don't know that it's a market top. Uh, Gold and silver are more tied to debt and inflation. Uh, but I mean, they did make a top. I mean, silver sold off 50%. I wonder how they would determine gold payments by the prices. Well, I mean, again, it was the same way they would determine Bitcoin payments, whatever current market is. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Okay. So they would use the spot price. There would be a spot price. I mean, I got news for you. If you went out and tried to sell your physical metals right now, you ain't getting spot. Anyways, enough of my cheeriness, but the Super Bowl was very good. And I gave everybody the winner, and my special prop got halfway home, got the 5-1, got the 13-1. So that was good. In the meantime, Connie, I know you're ready, but I will always ask in courtesy of. Training for a bomb run on an enemy, so I'm okay with it. Better than spending. Yes, agree. Agree. All right. So the dollar continues to churn between 60 and 66, 96 and 98. Reached the peak at 98 and sold. Now, just for those of you who like to maybe be more active, and I'm not recommending this to anybody, but you can try to trade inside these ranges. Many do. Okay. But it's pretty firm 96 to 98. And if you go back, you can see there's many ranges. And normally you'll have a lot of winning trades and then it'll break out one way or the other. And then you'll have a losing trade and you have to wait for another range to start again. That is the true scalping of the market. In the meantime, is the dollar weak? I don't know. You know, we hear the continuing, we need a weaker dollar so we can export more. I go back to, well, why don't you just cut your prices? Then it doesn't matter what the dollar is. But a weaker dollar hurts us, hurts our spending. So 96 to 98. Euro currency, Obviously the same levels as before, 117 to 120. What's up, buddy? Hey, how are you? 170, 120 again. You can put the same here. Okay. Certainly you're at the top end of a range. You could certainly look to trade this if you want. I'm not suggesting that you do. I like to wait for bigger and stronger moves in either direction. Doesn't really matter. But certainly you could do that if you want. The notes, well, they broke out now, so let's see what happens. Okay, interest rates are coming down a little bit, uh, and that's what it's based off of the future here. But here we are, we're still hovering around. I think you're now looking at 113 as resistance, and I will sell. I do have orders working at 113. I'm going to give you a bigger range than we've been using because we have broken out now 111 to 113 in the notes. Okay. But overall, this tells you here longer term interest rates have still been rising. And of course they have. They were 3.99 when they started rate cuts, and now they're like 4.3. Not good. And of course, new home mortgages have been collapsing. Okay. So, and not maybe not in your state, but certainly in the state of Florida and other states. So the bond Zulu Bravo, the same range, has not changed. 116, 114. Okay, has not changed. So again, I would be more, if I were going to do anything, I would be more want to be on the short side because of my belief of interest rates. But when there's something going on, I don't believe there's anything that you should really be doing. Does that make sense? Unless you can find a real reason to be involved in something, there's really no reason to get involved. Okay. You just got to be patient, is right. Bitcoin, what a beat down that took. Well, okay. So what do we have here? Okay. We have a blow off to the downside, right? There's the blow off to the downside. We have the immediate retrace and a little bit of follow through. I think you have to identify 75,000 as resistance. I think you can look at 59,000 as some potential support, but there's room to go down. Now, again, I don't think we're going dramatically lower from here. I think you saw the panic. Okay. I think there's a better chance that you get a rally. If Charlie Munger is right, just buy this at the 200-day weekly moving average. Well, probably. I think it's a buy. I don't know if it's a buy right at this moment. I thought it was a buy last week. I think that there's a good chance it goes higher. Yeah, he said that about stocks, but if he's really looking at a chart pattern, that's where markets move off of, right? The CTAs, they trade off the 100 and 200-day moving average. But right now, I think you're 59,000, 75,000. Again, I don't think anybody should be surprised. This is no different than what the silver chart looks like, no different than what gold looks like, no different than what equities look like when they get pounded. Again, just if you forget what it is and look at it for what it is, a chart, okay, then you look at it. So would you want to be a buyer of this here? Well, you'd certainly rather be a buyer than a seller, but do you want to try to buy it when it's getting much closer to resistance? Probably not. Okay. But a chart's a chart. If you took the letters off of what it was, what does it matter? You're going to look at it the same way. You don't want to throw in your opinion into, just because you think either you love Bitcoin or you hate it, you don't want that to be part of your decision making on a trade that you're going to make. Okay. Gold has had a nice little bit of a rally. It is breaking out. So it did consolidate. We asked for consolidation. I don't know that it's quite consolidated long enough. I would think that we're still at 5,200 as resistance. I think 4,800 is still support. And yes, that's a big move, but we've now learned that gold can move $400 or $500 a day. Especially, look at the market. Look at the volume on this rally. Okay. So once again, this is now just a chase up right now. Okay. Which means it's probably going to fall again. Again, I like gold and silver. I own it. I mean, I own physical, and I think that they're good to own. I don't know that I'd be running out today to buy it if I didn't already own it, but certainly a little bit wouldn't hurt you. Okay. I mean, again, as long as debt stays constant and gets bigger, metals are going higher. That's just from a fundamental standpoint. Silver remains in consolidation 70 to 85. Okay. Now again, think about this. Look at the range. We're giving a bigger range in silver than it used to trade 5 years ago. Think about that. Okay. But I personally believe that the longer it stays in consolidation, the better the rally is going to be when it rallies again. And I do think it's going to rally again. Okay. I think what you've seen here, you've seen a lot of people get trapped, a lot of people got caught, some tried to sell it. And I think that those who tried to sell their physical metals got raped because the buyers couldn't buy it. The spot, they were well under spot when they were buying from you. So we'll see. And platinum, well, still kind of consolidating. I think it's still the same ranges, 1900 to 2500. Okay. Again, we're getting big moves, big ranges. Would you short gold at 5200 if it appears to fail? Yeah, of course I would. My long-term holdings have nothing to do with what I would do day to day. Does that make sense? I've been short gold a couple times today. Okay. I don't care. I mean, do I think that it's going to go lower? Yeah, I think there's a chance it could go lower. And if it gets to the 5200 with some velocity and a reason, I would certainly look to sell it there. Again, I'm not holding it forever. I'm going to have an exit. Remember, we're talking about trading here, whether it be swing trading or a little bit longer term. If I'm investing, I'm not doing anything with my investments. My investments are hedged. That takes care of automatically. From a trading standpoint, yeah, of course. Listen. I'd sell silver at 88 or 85. Okay. Again, I'm not going to. Again, trading and investing have nothing to do with each other. Meantime, platinum. Listen, would I sell platinum at 2500? You're damn right I would. Copper continues to push up. Now they're making a big case for copper and because of AI and the amount of energy needed that they're using copper. Well, the bottom line is for our sake, it's still 570 to 620, 630. Make it 630, Kenny. I'm sorry. Still the whole range. It's still dead in a range. Okay. So if it's in a range, what am I going to do with it? Well, I'm either going to trade in the range, okay, and look to buy it at the bottom of the range or sell at the top of the range, or I'm going to wait till it breaks one way or the other. Either way is correct. They are just different styles. Grain markets, a little bit weakness, but again, we're in nice consolidation, 520 to 540 in wheat. Look, I'd be a buyer of wheat. Okay. Corn, 420 to 440. Once again, they're looking a little bit better. And soybeans, they broke out a little bit. Okay. So now what? Well, I would think that now 1140 is some resistance. And I think 1080 is now the support. We've now broken from that. Remember, we were watching 1040 to 1080? Well, bang, you broke it out. Not a real great opportunity to buy it unless you anticipated. Okay, it really never came back down to support to give you a great opportunity. But some of you might have anticipated and bought it. I'm not saying you should have. I'm just saying that you could have. But again, I don't count it as a trade that we would have caught. I don't think we ever catch this trade the way that it traded because you can see that it ran away. It did not come back and test that support level. Okay. So here we are. The cattle markets, they continue to consolidate. You know what? I don't know. I can't, I'm tired of arguing with it and fighting with it. I mean, I haven't done anything with it for quite a while, as you know. I always let you know what I'm doing. I think it's 232 to 240. I'm thinking after right before St. Patrick's Day. That's really what I'm thinking, honest and truly. But anyways, 232 to 240. Feeders, which I don't trade, they're still stuck in a consolidation. They tried to break out, false breakout. Still 360 to 370. Hogs, let me just change this to April. Look pretty good, making almost a cup and handle here, which I think makes sense. Okay. I would be a buyer of April hogs at, let's say, 94 and change. Okay. I think they got a chance to run. This is a cup and handle pattern, for those of you who remember that. Nat gas. No, here we go. Look, we said sell it. We said buy it. Okay, somewhere down around here. I think I am working orders just over $3. Okay. I think that's a good spot. Okay. Again, obviously you can see what can happen here when they get too short. That's why they call it the widowmaker in the first place. Okay. So I think you got to be careful. Well, again, this is because people get too short. You've got too many people trying to sell into it, too many nakeds, and then bang, you got to cover. Okay. In the meantime, for today, I think you're 3.10 or $3 to $4. That's pretty consistent with the range. Crude's been pretty wild. Okay. I think you're still in this 62 to 66 level. I am a seller at 66, but it is holding. This also looks like a cup and handle, except there's a difference. Maybe you know the difference that between this potential cup and handle and this potential cup and handle. I got to put the right chart up again, though, otherwise you won't get the full view. So maybe you know the difference. Just out of curiosity, no big deal, but just curiosity fact. The one is in an uptrend and the other's in a downtrend. So it's truly not a real cup and handle. Okay. Um, it's truly not a cup and handle. Hold on one second. Uh, Hold on one second. Okay.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.